Welcome everyone to my Monday chess stream here on lichess and Twitch. I'm International Master William Paschall. We're playing blitz and classical chess with viewers, live commentary and banter discussion here. Any kind of chess questions are welcome in the Twitch forum. I'm streaming from Budapest, Hungary, guys. Welcome everyone. It's 10 a.m. here, Central European time. Mule Skinner, King Wiki, Sadistroll, and Scheveningen. It's more like the Polish spelling is different, but okay, we'll let it slide. So you guys, I'm ready to start in a minute. I just want to greet everyone. We'll see if Jeroen has showed up, our faithful moderator. Okay, Mule Skinner. Guys, no simul yesterday. Sorry about that. Hopefully the administrators on lichess will get that fixed and running. We had a bug on Sunday last night that wouldn't allow people to actually enter the simuls, something in the code, so they said it would be fixed today. Welcome everybody. Let's get started. Mule Skinner, who's become a regular here. I don't know where Mule Skinner's from actually. We don't have too much info. He's about 1800 here and plays the kind of interesting openings. He plays the Grand Prix a lot with white. If you'd like to challenge me to anything between 5 and 8 minutes with a small increment. Mule Skinner white. He's white a lot. I think he's requesting white or something. I'm not sure, but it seems like he's white an awful lot, doesn't it? Wait a minute. Let's check this out. E4. I can't. That's one thing that bugs me when you look at these little mini boards. It doesn't show you what color. Actually, that's weird. They're different. What is going on? Why can't I get rid of this? Why can't I get rid of this box? Yo, guys, look at that. What is going on there? That is strange. Okay. I can't get rid of the box. Leave page. Okay, there's a strange bug. These boxes aren't going away. Does anybody else have this problem? I can't get this box to go away. Maybe if I make a move. Oh my god. It's the board. It's our live board. How do I get this to go away? Help! But it's actually on the board, so I can't move the pieces there. Oh, I can move it like that? Nope. I can't move it. I can't get rid of it. Help. What if I refresh the page? Yeah, that's better. Alright. Yeah, I'm a little bored of the Grand Prix attack, honestly, so I've been trying to work on the Lopez. It says Mule Skinner, Sparkle Horse. Sparkle Horse, Mule Skinner. Okay, so here's a game where I was white. That's right. So it does show colors. Good. Yeah, we're white. Actually, we were white a few games. Not many, though. If we count it down, let's see. White. No, black. Black. White. Black. White. We were white in a few, actually. Alright, because I know there was the time that you guys trolled me during my Wednesday weird opening stream, making me be white in all my games. One of these days you'll do it where I'm like black in all my games. Yo, good morning everybody. It's 10 o'clock here. We haven't changed time in Europe yet. No, we have changed time. I'm so really confused. But anyway, we have changed time. They haven't changed time in North America yet. That's what I'm trying to say. Duh. Alright. So who's here? Lord Alamo, Scaleaf, Saronche, Online Wiki. Now D3. And now we have to take care because white's threatening bishop takes C6, winning a pawn. So we can play D6 or B5. No, I like D6 here. I don't fear bishop takes a C6. White can do that if he wants to, but I don't really see, you know, white benefiting all that much. Now, B5 weakens the queen side. Just played C3. If I play bishop E7, you could play bishop E7, but then bishop takes C6 and like delayed exchange variation. Probably not a problem. Although G6 and bishop D7 are This is kind of a solid approach for black. Bishop d7 followed by g6 and bishop g7. King's Indian style. We did have a game like this on the stream not too long ago. Actually, my yesterday's tournament game opponent, Habashi Gergo, played... well, he gets a lot of these positions because he's playing like a6 and g6 in the Lopez, and then white plays like c3, and he'll do this sort of thing. But my knight's on f6, which, you know, is interesting. If I had played g6 or something, you might think about the fact that the knight sometimes is better on e7 in a way, because often it's not blocking the f pawn. It's kind of a tough question. On the other hand, the knight can sometimes go to h5, like in the King's Indian. So I don't know, you know, objectively. When you're talking about pawn breaks, like f5, in general, like an English opening or some closed opening, you don't really want the knight in front of the pawn. It's better to have the knight on e7 or h6 or something, where it doesn't interfere with the pawn break. But this isn't an English opening. This is a double king pawn position where it's, you know, arguably important to have the knight influencing two central squares. I don't know. It's really an interesting question. It's hard to say. You expected me in Halloween costume. I know. Just too much to do today. I was gonna... yeah. The damn time change screws everything up. I have some stuff I have to coordinate with stuff in the US, and time changes, the work I have to do is kind of like stealing an hour from my work time. So I'm under a little bit of pressure to get some things done. Sorry to disappoint you, Soroche. No, I am in my Halloween costume. We can find a pumpkin or something. All right, so are you happy now? Let's make him a little bit higher here. All right, so it's the Halloween themed stream. Knight F1 from Mule Skinner. Mule Skinner, it's hard to believe you're the same person who plays the Grand Prix attack against the Sicilian. With D3 here. Am I not scary enough personally? Like, seriously. So, yeah, we'll just... It's Halloween stream. Chess. Alright, knight to g3 now. Yeah, he's trying to think about doing some kind of early Steinitz. I think I'm fine castling here. And good luck. You know, if you want to do any crazy stuff, well, it's all been tried before, probably. So, Black's got the King's Indian basically going. And I talked about this once before. I feel really awkward with this pumpkin here. I'm going to move him over a little bit. As I talked about before, I think it's very similar to like a Tory attack, King's Indian, except, well, You're not fianchetto. What's the difference here? The bishop, something about the bishop on a4 is very active here. Whereas in the Tory attack, you'd be playing like d4 and bishop e2 or bishop d3. It's a bit weird, the bishop on a4. He went bishop g5, so that's what I'm talking about when I say Tory attack type position. I'm not worried about bishop g5 though. I'm going to go a little higher. I'm going to go get a little bit higher to pumpkin, don't worry. I think Yoro was just like, I think he was just like away from the computer and then came back and saw the pumpkin. He was like, oh wait, cool. You know, I mean, I don't know, most of you guys are in Europe, so I mean, Halloween isn't really a holiday like of the magnitude it is in the United States. But I don't know which European countries it's more popular than others. I'm sure in the UK, where some of its heritage comes from, probably pretty big. But here in Eastern Europe, okay, it's a fun American holiday basically. Mule Skinner, yeah, I think that's kind of interesting what you did. So now what, basically, is the question? King h7. Do we want to do something like king h7, knight g8? I don't know. He hasn't castled yet, so I'm not sure I want to put my king on the same file as this rook here. That seems a bit odd to me. Maybe rook e8, queen e7. We could just start grabbing space on the other side too. Queen e7 seems okay. I guess he's gonna force me to play a king h7. Queen e7 is not bad. I mean, this knight, you know, if it could come to d5, it would be a problem, but not really an issue. So queen e7 is just kind of a neutral move, hanging out, strengthening my strong point. The pumpkin. I should put a... Well, we don't really need a candle in. I could turn off the light. Hell on toast. In this position, lichess wants white to play rook a b1. Yeah, that's a classic move. I don't know how fast your CPU is, but I'm running on a laptop and it's not that fast, so my browser Stockfish would probably not beat that by much. It also, I guess, depends which browser you use. It's better if you're using the analysis engine in Chrome, probably, rather than in Firefox. Yeah, rook b1 is... You know, it's not that stupid. White wants to expand with like b4, a4 on the queen side. Now, what's this? Queen e2. He's... Yeah, I mean, I think I'm going to play... I'm seriously considering b5 now. Grabbing space on the queen side. I'm going to discourage him from castling queen side. I do weaken my queen side, but I don't think he's really well placed to exploit that in this position so much. So, bishop c2. I mean, I kind of expected bishop b3, but that's fine. Now what? Knight d8. Knight d8 idea, knight e6 is interesting. White could play d4 at some point. a4 is obvious. Obvious idea. d4 and a4, these are moves that could go down here. Maybe I should react in the center with d5. Bishop c2 was a good move, actually. Rook on a to b8, maybe? I don't know about this. Mule Skinner, I feel like he's outplaying me here. I don't really have a concrete plan. and he's keeping his options open of castling queenside or kingside. I don't think he's going to castle queenside. If he castles queenside, I'm a happy guy. Right about now, after rook a b8, I didn't want to play rook on f to b8. It left too many rooks on the queen side. It looks a little strange in this King's Indian type formation. Pumpkin is actually getting in the way of the mic, guys, so I'm going to move him. He's on my mouse side. Like, you're very awkward, Pumpkin. You're on my mouse side. If you go there, though. It's a no-win situation. I'll move the mic a little bit. Alright. We're going to lose on time. It's always good. Yeah. So, a little bit of fun here today. b4. Wow, Mule Skinner is turning into the quintessential positional player. That is pretty interesting. b4. All right. I had no idea what to do, but you can't keep your position like flexible forever. Keep your I don't know what I want to say, but you can't just keep the tension forever here. Bishop b3. All right, whatever. Knight e6. Bishop e6 is fine. But Mule Skinner, very, very subtle play. He's 1800, man. That's pretty tough. Now what do I do? I don't really know what to do now. Alright, this is risky, but principled. We have just 16 seconds left. White has played fantastically. Not spectacular chess, but very subtle, kind of solid positional game. Maybe I'm overestimating it, but I was thinking, you have a player here who plays the Grand Prix. It's kind of a caveman type of system, and now he's playing very subtle kind of Lopez with white. But in fact, the Grand Prix can be actually a positional line. It's a closed Sicilian in a sense. Mule Skinner likes closed positions. Almost lost on time. This c5 square is sort of dangerous. Very hard for me to do anything. And my bishop is bad. This is the first bad move I think Mule Skinner has made the entire game. He takes d5. But even that may not be bad. He has an idea. Well, it's ridiculous. How can he have that? About to lose on time. White has the c5 square, which I was just talking about. Maybe I was wrong. I thought he's making a mistake by giving up the center, but he has such a monstrous square on c5. Come on, Pumpkin. Come on, Pumpkin, let's do something. We got time pressure. Maybe I should have just taken his bishop on e3. I don't know. White's better. White is better, guys. Bishop takes h6. What? Alright. Combinations are flying here. We really don't have too much time to think. Pumpkin, you have an odor. All right, so it wasn't very pretty, this game, was it, guys? I don't know. I'm very much out of my element there. It looked like white probably had the upper hand, but time finally decided. I've got to rearrange my pumpkin. All right, it's getting on the mouse side is a serious handicap. Pumpkin, you have to go on the other side. We'll just move the mouse and move the mic here a little bit. All right. They fixed the simul's already. You want to use something better than lichess to analyze my positions? Yeah, you need to find some kind of standalone chess program. I recommend like the newest Fritz or maybe Houdini or something like that. If you guys have any problems with the volume, let me know, because my pumpkin is kind of in conflict with the mouse. I mean, with the mic here. But you should still hear me. All right, I'm going to get a drink after this. Welcome everyone to my stream. My name is International Master Headless Horseman, and no, seriously, we are International Master William Paschall from the Pumpkin Patch here in Budapest, Hungary. It is Halloween. It's King Wiki, Satis Troll, Scheveningen, Geese, Scheveningen, if we want to say it correctly. The 960 Halloween. Actually, we are welcome to play. You guys are welcome to play Chess 960. Satis Troll is challenging me to a Chess 960. That's coming up next. I'm gonna play King Wiki here. Let me know if the mic is okay. Okay, because I'm talking to the pumpkin basically. And we don't get many D4 games from you guys lately. So D4, I've been playing a lot of Kings Indians, but I want to mix it up. Yesterday I was talking about the fact that I played E4 for the first time in a tournament game in almost 2 years. The same thing applies though with my openings with black. I was playing too much of the same thing to the point where I was getting kind of predictable. But I've been playing quite a lot of Kings Indians, so we need to keep in the Nimzo Indian. Maybe even another defense would be good to have, like 3. Welcome everyone, Lord Alamo, Gary Hertz, Fran Koma. Good morning. Feels good to be at home on a Monday morning. I want to take revenge for yesterday's game. Okay, so King Wiki played a Leningrad variation. Yuck. I've never really felt comfortable in the Leningrad with black, to be honest. I've had very few opponents actually played against me, and I guess that's one of the reasons why I don't feel very comfortable. Although I studied the book lines, when you don't face something on a regular basis, you never really develop a sense of kind of like, comfort would be the best word. Since I don't play against Bishop G5 very often, it's never the kind of position I've become really accustomed to. Pumpkin, come back. This pumpkin is odiferous. Pumpkin soup. You're gonna be pumpkin soup soon, Mr. Pumpkin, because you guys like pumpkin soup? It's really good. E3 now. Very, very unusual variation. My good friend, Mr. Joe Fang, or Fong, he played a lot of Leningrad Nimzos with white, and remember, he would occasionally play like rook to C1 there. Played that against Nick DeFermian, I think. Does that seem right? Rook to C1? Even, I don't know. Come to think of it, maybe not in that position, maybe it was a different position. Yeah, it's generally not good to not play d5, I think, for white. So there's a number of things we could do here. I guess queen a5 is the most obvious one. But I'm not convinced that's necessarily the best move. There's also h6. But I'm afraid if h6, white goes back to maybe bishop f4. I wish I could play knight e4 here. I really do. Pawn takes pawn, queen a5. And then the problem, I guess, is bishop back to d2. It's not really clear what black does there, and the queen is sort of silly on a5 in the resulting position. King Wiki. Can't say I've ever looked at this. Never stopped to think about e3 before. But now we are. Andrea, welcome. Nobleman K, are you playing with viewers? Yeah, we're playing with viewers here on lichess. And everyone's welcome to challenge me to any game between 5 and 8 minutes with a small increment. We have a waiting list of like 7 games. I don't know, guys. I don't think I've ever faced e3 in a serious. Maybe an offhand blitz game, but never a game I had to think about very hard. What? I don't like queen a5. No, wait, queen a5. I said I don't like queen a5. Actually, queen a5 probably is the best move. I don't know. I don't like CD, ed, queen a5 because of bishop d2. Then I'm not really sure what I'm supposed to do. I guess I could do that and then play maybe like d5. It's kind of strange position. Similar to the Panov attack, some lines of the Panov attack, Karo Khan. Alright, now I almost made a stupid move. Don't I have 94 now? I mean, it's tempting to play c takes d, but that's not so clear. Is it? Bishop takes f6, yeah. No, I think white's okay there. After c takes d, bishop takes f6, g takes f6, e takes d. White's position reminds me of some lines of the Nimzo, some lines of the Rubinstein variation. Andrea, welcome. I need to refresh my my Twitch page. If anybody has any problems with the Twitch stream, just try refreshing. Sometimes it's... Yesterday we had a strange error, and just refreshed once and it was right back. So, I think King Wiki is out of book. Though, what's the best move there? Here he dropped a piece, but he can get it back or something? Is there some trick? I just play bishop takes c3, and then knight takes g5. Yep. I mean, sometimes there's tricks, but not here. So instead of a3, I don't need to find a better move, obviously. You're just losing a pawn? Bishop f4. It's pretty much a disaster. You're losing a pawn and you're going to have to move your king to like e2. So the last move here, white needs to do something different. After queen a5, I don't know what to recommend. I guess we played the right move. 94 wins instantly, doesn't it? Instant gratification. No. Doesn't. What is this position? Yeah, I'm hallucinating. 94, does it win instantly? It really feels like white should have some defense here. But I guess not. Sometimes the knight can get trapped on g5. I don't know. I mean, theoretically, he could play maybe like f3 or something and trap my knight with h4 later. Maybe this knight is a little awkward on g5, as it is sometimes in the classical Nimzo. Some lines of queen c2 variations, the knight goes to like g5 and gets trapped or has to go to a very awkward route. Yeah, I mean, I honestly thought you would take on c5. Why did I think take on c5? What does that do? Taking here, maybe? Yeah, that would be the idea. I mean, and then if queen takes c5, my knight really gets trapped. So I thought that would have been really interesting. Still not that simple. Well, I don't really have a lot of choices here. On move 6, I should have taken... Well, yeah, bishop takes f6, bishop takes c3 check, b takes c, queen takes c3. But the problem is you have to play your king to e2. I mean, it's a total disaster for white, no matter how you slice it. At least this way you got some kind of strange sort of tricks and stuff going on. Tricks, trick or treat. 10:30, we have 7 challenges. I guess everybody's off. I don't know how it is in most European countries, but here in Hungary, like all the kids don't go to school for this week. It's like vacation week. Man, b3 check is kind of bad news. That is bad news for white. Very inconvenient. Knight a4. Yeah, this is a bizarre game. But you have to play, I mean, you're supposed to play d5 on move 4. Move 5, excuse me. So there are other moves, though. I think the d5 is the only serious one. This did not work out well. You're haunted by the pumpkin. Would you say is the key to doing chess? Always stay one step ahead in moves or try to predict your opponent? Well, chess is a complicated game. There are definitely many principles. I mean, a really strong player should be able to beat their opponents regardless of style. But predicting your opponent's moves, you know, it has a fair amount to do with kind of like knowing a little bit about how they like to play, which is not always easy. We don't always have a lot of information about our opponents, so it's more important that you just perfect your own game and your understanding of the principles of the game, calculation, and understanding of principles of the game. I mean, those are the 2 most important things: strategic principles and calculation of variations. As far as predicting your opponent's moves, that's more psychology and more about like how much information you have about your opponent, which isn't always applicable. Mostly we're playing like people we don't really know, you know, whether it's a tournament or online. Make 2 moves in a row. I've done that before. I told you guys. We have been guilty of making 2 moves in a row before. I'm thinking about taking this pawn here. Not to be greedy, just I want to mess with his plan of like queen d3 and trying to checkmate me over here a little bit. I think that's an important pawn. Also, my queen was kind of out of play on a4. Looks like we're going to be out of play again. Just try to stay as... Actually, is this a good move? Try to stay as relevant as I can. I was tempted to play queen b5, a4, b2, and then like take the rook on a1, but it's kind of fancy. So, if anybody is interested, I have my YouTube channel, Video Chess Training on YouTube. No Halloween pumpkins there, unfortunately. Uh-oh, look at this, King Wiki. Super tricky with the rook h5 swinging across the board concept. Maybe I'll just play f5 and like g6 and sort of blockade. It does kind of weaken my king side, but I don't like this rook coming across here. I guess I could even play d5 if need be. e4. He is driving me crazy here. Classic Nimzoni. How many pieces am I up? 2? I can give 1 back. If things get scary, never be afraid to give back material. He's a little late making a comeback here, but I could see myself having to like part with one of my extra pieces to try to break some threats here, stop some of his threats. Look at that space advantage. It's got kind of a massive space advantage here. I need to free my pieces. Welcome everyone. It's Halloween, in case you couldn't guess. We're playing all viewers with commentary and banter and whatever you want to call it. The rook here sliding across sometimes. He's not going to checkmate me this time. This knight in f7 is actually a really good defender. And there's some open files now, like the d file. This is probably going to cause serious pain for white in this position. Rook d8. We almost developed the other pieces here. That's it. My queen. Oh, you're hanging your queen, man. Wow, almost didn't see it. All right. Satis Troll Chess 960, guys. I'm willing to play like 2 Chess 960 games during a stream to kind of mix things up. If you guys would like to challenge me, make it between 5 and 8 minutes with a small increment. We're going to be streaming till around maximum 12:30. FlipSync says, what should I study to go above 1500? I generally have a good deal in the opening. Then I slowly but surely get a worse position. Yeah, I mean, well, it takes a while till you really get to play a lot of even endgames. So I kind of agree with Knight Emprise that middle games, basically, middle game strategy sounds good. Fundamental principles of the middle game. There's a really good book that I recommend everyone. entitled The Middle Game. It's a 2-part series by former world champion Max Uwe. So you have an idea of what your plans should be. You need to have a good grounding in strategic principles. It's a book series of 2 books that's out of print, but you can find it. You can probably find it on Amazon. Okay, this is actually difficult because it looks like a normal opening to some extent, but it's not. So it's kind of easy to lull myself into a sense of complacency here. Status Troll, I'm copying you. These moves are irresistible, aren't they? E4, E5, Knight F3, Knight F6. I could play Knight C6. It's almost a normal starting position. The thing about Knight C6 I'm not that attracted to is like blocking my bishop on this diagonal. I think it might be better to develop slightly different. More like a Breyer. I'm thinking of like a Breyer type of Roy Lopez. Knight on D7. Not to block the bishop on A8. Oh man, Crusader of Hope, I feel for you, man. You woke up because the neighbor started drilling on your wall. We had the same thing here last week, the last couple weeks, but it seems to be very sporadic. Not a really professional operation. Every once in a while they start hammering on the wall. Okay, D3, a copycat again. Let's just castle. I like the placement of these rooks. This is like a souped up Lopez. These pieces are not bad here on D8, queen on C8, bishop on D8, and maybe knight D7, followed by B6. This bishop on D8 isn't that bad. It's not really interfering that much. The rook's across here on E8, so I don't have to worry about connecting my rooks. Useful to use a point system to evaluate moves, positions. Drummist. I don't know. That sounds very complicated to me. I mean, you're trying to like analyze like a computer. I don't think that humans are really cut out for that. Like we need, we work best with kind of general principles and more broader concepts. This idea of a point system sounds very impractical. I'm not saying that it's not feasible, but at least to me, it seems like it would be kind of impractical. So basically, Status Troll is just copying me. We're copying each other. Knight. A lot of people play Knight C6, but the problem is it interferes with the bishop. Although maybe the right plan was like Knight C6, Knight E7, Knight G6, which is kind of classic Roy Lopez sort of plan. I like the way he's played though. He took the initiative with D4. Now he's got the stronger center, theoretically. I'm going to close the window here because it's kind of cold. Really cold fall air. Alright, so there it is, D5. Yeah, I was threatening to take now. He had a little issue with the E4 pawn. There was going to be a third attacker. It's a nice straight arrow. A third attacker entering the situation there, so awkward. A little awkward for Troll. We could try to break it up now with C6. This is sort of debatable though, because I'm attacking the head of the pawn chain. According to Mr. Nimzovich, wasn't really the proper way to go about doing things. Also, if I play C6, I have to watch out for the D6 pawn. probably not a big deal. I'm going to go for it. This is risky, strategically risky for me in a sense, because I'm attacking the head of his pawn chain. My idea was to play b5 with multiple angles. I have miscalculated. Chess 960. The idea is good, just the execution isn't really right. I want to just try to chip away this pawn structure, but I was jumping the gun a little bit here. Also, this bishop has a lot of potential. Is there any way I can that bishop out to b6 quickly? If anybody wants to contact me about any kind of chess-related questions or training, you can send me an email, videochesstrainer@gmail.com, aka Mr. Pumpkin. So, one problem with my position, that bishop on d8 now. Troll, what are you doing? You have pawn takes pawn. This is a blunder. I just blundered the game, basically. I lose a pawn. After pawn takes pawn, I have to play c5. It's travesty. And I have the worst Benko gambit ever. So I played this too early. I wasn't really paying attention, and I'm just pinned along the c5. So b5 is a good idea. It doesn't work. Therefore, very possibly c6 was a mistake. Perhaps I shouldn't play this at all. And if I do, I don't know. I'm going to have to make another move to make it work. You know, I'm going to have to play like maybe queen b8 before I can play b5. And I think that extra time, you know, so probably it was better to just try something else. But now Satis Troll has blundered and I'm winning. The game of chicken. Mutually hanging queens. It's really bad. This is two players not paying close enough attention to the situation. Chess 960 is sometimes tricky like that. I mean, I'm in a kind of alien situation with the pieces here. Troll still doesn't see the point. I didn't see it either, Troll, until a little too late. But that is a really bad game by both of us. Let's pretend that never happened. That didn't happen. I didn't play b5. You didn't hang your queen. Let's just... It was a Halloween specter. Scheveningen is not going to be so forgiving if I make a mistake. So let's see what he does. I mean, I don't recall really playing e5 against Scheveningen. I know I've played the Caro-Kann, and I know I've played the Sicilian a lot. But he plays the Scotch. Interesting. So I'm actually not really well versed in the Scotch with black. C6 looked normal, but C6 looks normal, but then what? You know, that's the proverbial question. Then what? You know, you do C6, but it's not enough. I mean, you need more there. I need to be able to play B5. I need to really blow up his queen side. If I can't play b5, then I think the whole thing is... I feel like the whole thing is a little bit like iffy, basically. This is main line. Bishop c4. Castles. Or knight e5. I'm supposed to play knight e5 at some point. Let me see. If I castle, knight takes c6, queen takes c6. Should be okay for black. I think this is the main line, actually. at some point d6. Or not. Am I supposed to play knight e5 first and then d5? That might even be theory. Knight e5, bishop e2, d5? Then he would have f4, wouldn't he? I know queen g6. This is also an idea at some point. But I don't really know the theory here. This is a fairly fast game, 5-5, so I better not waste too much time. Knight e5, d6. But d6, knight takes c6. Knight takes c6, bishop takes c5. That's probably slightly better for white. I don't know the theory. I don't remember. Bishop b6 is slow. Looks very slow. Knight e5, bishop e2, and then what? Knight e5, bishop e2, queen g6, is that it? I think something like that. But I'm afraid I could be walking into some kind of trap. Queen g6, f4, queen takes e4. Followed by like queen somewhere. No, actually that doesn't look like that clear. Queen g6 here. Knight f5. Queen g6, knight f5. Am I supposed to play d6? d6, f4. d5, knight f5, or something like that. Actually, that's not a problem. d5, f4. d5, f4 though, where do I go? Knight c4 looks bad. d6. Queen g6 allows knight f5. There I have some weird counterplay though. Queen g6. Can I do this? I'm down to a minute. Cheveningen knows the theory and I don't. I mean, I think that knight d2 is main line. It just that it takes me a long time to figure this out. And then d5, if I'm not mistaken, is some kind of move. I'm not really sure how it works though. Right. I'm down to 48 seconds. Cheveningen knows all the theory and I'm just like figuring it out over the board. I have a vague kind of memory in the back of my mind. Come on, pumpkin. Enjoying the smelly pumpkin. What's up, Will Wolf? Carlson Karyakin will be all in the evening. Yeah, good luck with that. You have to pay the Russian mafia to watch the games or something? I don't know, man. I have no idea. You're going to probably have to pay somebody if you want to watch the Carlson Karyakin live. I'm not really politically down with the, what is it called? What's that organization they created for the candidates tournament? World Chess or whatever. This is pretty dubious. FIDE, corrupt FIDE sponsored organization. I'm not too excited about that. I'll have to wait for the print version of the games rather than watch it live. The first World Championship match that will be like everybody has to pay to watch it live in the history of chess. Whatever. That's the beauty of corrupt chess organization. Pirate chess. Somebody should set up a pirate site that just gets the moves secretly, broadcasts it. I don't think it's going to be so easy though. I think you're going to have to pay the money to watch it live. I don't know how long it will take the moves to get. There'll probably be a delay or something they'll put in. Well, it's not exactly FIDE. It's not exactly clear what it is. It's like partly connected to FIDE. It's partly some shady characters who are involved with this world chess. It seems like a really dubious setup. F3? And I'm in time pressure here. I'm out of book now, in case you guys couldn't guess. But take knight f5 doesn't work. I think I have to like take and play. I'm gonna take and play maybe bishop b6. Just keep it simple. But I feel like black's okay here. We're probably still in theory. I could have even played knight d5 there. That would have been super weird. d5, knight f5. Knight f5. Shevninga, what's up, man? It looks pretty close. I could have played like bishop h3. Doesn't make much sense here. Not bad for a guy who doesn't know any theory in the Scotch, I guess. I've always played these really... The few times that I faced the Scotch, I played like g6 and... What else? Yeah, g6 mostly. Just kind of take people out of book and get a sort of structure that I'm comfortable with. Basically, e takes d, knight takes d4, g6 has been my choice. I think Steinitz played that. It's okay for black. It should be better for white, though. Teach Me Chess says he's actually gone to the actual match. I'm not real pumped, to watch Karyakin lose to Carlsen, but it's better than Anand. That's my only, and it was freely determined tournament. I wasn't happy about the winner, but that's, at least it was a democratic determination of who would be the challenger for the World Championship. Okay, now what? What am I doing? Looks pretty equal. Looks pretty equal. I don't like that move. Step away from the chalupa. You guys remember that Taco Bell? Wow. I have knight d3. Getting lucky. Scheveningen's, he's usually not waking up this early. So we got a very uncharacteristic tactical mistake. I'm happy I just survived the opening, because I had to find very, very deep in my recessed memory this like order of moves in the opening that I was very unsure about. Thank you for the game. Geese, another Scotch player. Uh-oh, I hope I'm not black again. Oh, that was close. Although now I feel refreshed. There'll be Masters swarming Washington Square, and yeah, I mean it'll be good for chess in New York City, I guess. But I mean, it's not clear like who's sponsoring. I mean, it's not really clear who's sponsoring the thing, and it's all kind of shady. I mean, they're basically holding the tournament in New York, but I don't think the sponsors or any of the sponsors are from the U.S. It's kind of weird. They could have probably gotten some American sponsors as well, but it didn't seem like they were interested. Okay, so e6. Yeah, I'm a little bored with knight f3 lately. Let's play knight to c3. I'm a little bit bored of playing the white side of the Bogo Indian. Maybe I should learn to play knight on bd2 though. Wow, Geese plays the Benoni. Or, yeah, Benoni it is. I am playing e4 and d4 and c4 and knight f3 too. So we play everything. I want to be like the universal master. I play all opening moves with white and also have a number of systems with black, because I've been far too predictable. Like in my return tournament in June, I was a little bit too predictable in the openings. Here I've got a couple systems that I play. I play the same-ish and I play the standard main line. I think with Geese I'm going to go with the same-ish. A lot of people don't know the subtleties of this line. Wow, he quickly played bishop g7. Thirsty Thursday. The problem with that is, yeah, I don't like drinking alcohol during the day. It has a very dangerous effect. Bishop g5. My worst experiences with drinking always occurred when I started drinking early in the day. If you start in the evening, it doesn't get completely out of control. You can't get that out of control. Stronchi, it sounds like a dangerous recipe. And Panika tends to give you a hangover. I would stick with something like very well distilled vodka. So a6, early move, a4. Yeah, you guys would have a good chance. World chess is definitely shady. Well, the whole, the entire World Chess Federation is shady. Rook e8. Now with the new Cold War that's taking hold, I mean, it seems like it's only going to get weirder and weirder. I would feel very awkward about like going to a major chess tournament in Russia now, whereas before I felt very comfortable about it. But with all the political stuff going on, it's really strange. Rook e8. We did have a game with a guy not long ago in this variation with like knight e2, h6, knight takes e4, knight takes e4. No, h6, bishop takes h6, knight takes e4, knight takes e4, queen h4 check, one of those things. Man, I hate playing knight e2 here, actually. That lets him play knight on bd7. But what else can I do? Maybe rook a3. I shouldn't really do that unless he plays queen a5, I guess. I could play rook a3. I mean, it's not a bad move. It's a river guarding rook. It has some defensive potential. It negates queen a5, kind of waiting move. Rook a3 is interesting. Other moves I don't have too many. I mean, bishop e2 gets in the way of the knight. But I guess knight on gd2 is standard here. I'd prefer to play knight h3 and knight f2. That's the only thing I'm kind of hesitant about. It can't get that out of control if you start in the evening. Well, it can. But not quite in the same magnitude. I mean, give it an extra 10 hours and believe me, it can get worse. It can get worse. There's only a limited number of hours that bad things can happen if you start in the evening. This is actually pretty similar to my game against Toth Ervin from 2 weeks ago, but his queen was on d1, which is strange. I mean, it gives him increased control over g4, and in some variations where I'm playing like knight e5, and he's playing f4, he had 3 guys on, or a number of guys on g4. It was a bit different with the white queen on d1. And I played queen a5, but I don't really like queen a5, geese. A lot of people do that, but I guess it's a totally valid line. I personally find it tricky and strange with the queen out on a5. A little artificial for black. So I guess the main line is something like, I played rook b8 in tandem with queen a5. He's not giving me too much time to commentate with a quick move there. After queen a5, instead of queen a5, I was going to say, I think probably the main line is knight e5, and then like bishop e2, h5, followed by knight h7 and f5, or h4. You've got to get out of the pin, right? h5, I guess you're going to have to play queen a5 or queen c7. Maybe queen c7. But actually queen a5 may be good. I don't know about rook b8. You can still try to do the same basic thing. Knight e5, h5, yeah. You have to get out of that pin. Queen c7 or queen a5. I play things a little differently when I'm black. I haven't actually had one of these positions on the stream, but I would put the knight on e5 probably and play bishop d7 and b5, even if it means sacrificing a pawn, like a Benko kind of pawn sacrifice with b5. I find that to be kind of interesting. Rook a3, for those of you that are wondering, I mean, it's guarding the rook, so he can't play b5. Okay, now knight e5, I have to be a little bit careful. Castles, yeah, castles looks fine. Castles, queen b4, probably not a problem. Actually, his queen gets trapped in some lines. Tries to play like queen b4. The queen has a tendency to get trapped in this opening, so I'd be very careful about that. But geese does seem to be somewhat familiar. But why have we never played a King's Indian before, geese? What have you played in the past? Or Benoni, I mean. What have you played in the past against me? Now, this looks like a good move. Under the circumstances, that's probably the right plan for black. It's possible this is still book, actually. It looks like the right plan. Don't have too much time. this move. With the idea of b4. Structurally, white is better. I have a very nice pawn chain. And black's Benoni pawns, they tend to be a little bit weak. So that's the struggle, really. That's the heart of the issue here. I think black's queenside pawn, the pawn chain is a little bit iffy for black. If one of those pawns falls, it's game over. You know, black has to be very careful. Queen b4 looks like a good, another good move by black there, except he can get trapped. A5, but actually a5 is a sound positional move. I want to keep his pawns isolated, sort of. These three pawns, man. If he plays b5, he's going to have technically not three isolated pawns, but they're going to feel like three isolated pawns. And that's the beauty of white's position. F4 is a move here, but it's usually not a good idea. It weakens g4 too much. I'm only fond of making that move if it wins a piece. You know, we do F4. If it wins a piece, then I'm down with it, you know, but otherwise it really loosens up white's position. So we need a very specific situation for that to work. I mean, if he hadn't played c4, then sometimes h3, f4 will win a piece if there's like a bishop on d7. It is an idea, definitely, but you have to be well prepared. So far, it looks pretty standard. Once I lost to this guy, Tal Shuckhead, in a similar type of position. I don't remember how that happened, how I lost the game. I thought I had a good opening. That was like 20 years ago in a New York Open. The guy quit chess, he got the GM title. I think he won the World Junior and then like quit chess. American GM. But in the opening, I had a good position, something similar to this, and went astray later on. But I never really quit playing this variation. It's one of many lines that I've played. And it's nice because you can play it universally against the King's Indian and the Benoni. So it's like an all-in-one. That's the beauty of this F3 setup. It gives you a system against two major defenses against d4. Just imagine the pawns would not promote, but then get taken out of the game. Chess would have evolved differently. Also nice to see the Scotch last game. Yeah, I almost lost on time on move 9. Wow, b6. b6 is like losing the exchange. Or a pawn. Loses at least a pawn. You're lucky your queen isn't trapped for good. Honestly, I'm not sure if I even want to win this exchange. To be honest, it's probably something I should do, but he's gonna have a little bit of counterplay on the dark squares. But what else can I do? Bishop takes c4. Interesting move. When does bishop take c4? Lose a piece? No. Bishop takes c4. Knight takes c4. Rook takes c4. Queen takes c4. Bishop takes b6. Or he's got an intermezzo in that line, unfortunately, with he's got rook takes b2 at some point. Bishop takes c4, rook takes b2. Does that make sense? Not really. Bishop takes c4, knight takes c4, rook takes c4. Not really. Maybe that's the best move. I'm not hanging a piece here, right? This makes sense. But I think you hung a piece, like a rook. I think you lost one of your rocks. I thought this was a better way to play, not to, you know, risk giving up the dark squares completely. Have you counted your pieces lately? I think you're missing a rook. Do you know where your children are? Pieces are like children. Yeah, this is not good. Your pieces are your children. You have to protect them and guard them. Yeah, you've been a bad parent to those children, geese. Yeah, bishop takes c4 was pretty fancy. I didn't want to just give him the dark squared bishop though. That looked, you know, if I give up the dark squared bishop and win the exchange, it's kind of awkward. Puts me in an awkward situation. So we're going to try to take over the rather important long diagonal here, and we could also just maybe win another pawn, but I think we'll keep it simple if possible. I try to keep it simple whenever possible. Guys, we're going to be streaming for another hour here. Thank you for the holiday festivity. You're welcome. Yeah, I'd like to put the pumpkin on my head, but it's not the freshest pumpkin in the world. So I'm going to pass on that. A little bit of holiday cheer goes a long way, right guys? Especially if you're like an expatriate like myself. Halloween isn't really a serious holiday here in Budapest. Geese has not given up. This doesn't look good, man. You're missing some important items from this position. That's when the Benoni pawn chain breaks down. You have serious problems. The pawn chain. That's the whole idea. My pawn chain. You can't mess with the pawn chain. Pawn chain chess. Franco A+3. Andrea Peroni. TLC best. Challenged me to 6-4. That's cool. Unusual time control. Fine by me. Okay, Franco 2000. The headless chess man. He's a rock down. One rock down. So e4. I had a friend we used to call the knights dogs, and the rooks were rocks. Sometimes in some sets the knights look kind of like dog-like, you know, so whether or not you're into Snoop Dogg, you can refer to the knights as dogs and the rooks as rocks, just to add a little bit of funky cheer to the game. But we usually go with traditional terminology. Knight takes c3. Bring your dog out first. Slightly dog-like, these horses. Excuse me. We're going good today. Somehow, undefeated. And then Franco last time drew me, I think, in one of these lines. He played b4. Very rare move, but you know, it's totally viable. I don't see anything wrong with b4. What's wrong with b4 is probably the fact that it's not the best move, but it doesn't mean that it's a bad move. I'm sure this is discussed in Mr. Esserman's treatise on the Mora Gambit. I am Mark Esserman. I've known him since he was kind of a teenager. Not really well, but we're on friendly terms. Mark became obsessed with the Mora Gambit, and then finally he finally wrote a book. Well, not finally. It's been a while ago now, but it's the only really complete work on the Mora Gambit of any kind of modern time frame. I think essential reading if you play the Mora. I don't, but I'm just playing kind of the same way I played against Franco last time, I believe. I like to get my bishop out to g4 in these variations, but I think b4 kind of a little bit works against that. Just sort of b4, b5. We need to get out of there. Maybe bishop e7 castles as fast as possible. But I don't think that b4 is really a serious threat. Last time Franco just was a pawn down, and I let him kind of... I was just not really accurate and let him get his pawn back and draw. There are better ways for white to play. All the variations like h3, bishop f4, bishop g5, bishop e3, all those moves deserve, on move 7, deserve serious consideration. I think stronger than b4. So anyway, happy holidays, guys. We're going to be here all this week, 10 to 12:30 Central European Time. UTC +1, let's call it. It's kind of a tough week for me because I coordinate some stuff I do with people in the United States, and the time difference is only 5 hours, so I'm a little bit having to compress some work that I do into a shorter period. So Queen C2. Oh, I didn't tell you guys that didn't watch my stream yesterday. Last night I was supposed to do a simul stream, but we had a little problem because lichess simuls were down due to a technical bug. White's heart is in the right place, you know. But I think Franco, he's basically playing like the Queen's Gambit accepted or something with the pawn on e4 instead of e3. If you look at this, if you look at his formation, seriously, it's the Queen's Gambit accepted with the pawn on e4 instead of on e3. The queen isn't really well placed on c2. That's why it typically goes to e2 in the Mora. It's going to be exposed here. along the c file. So he's going to have to relocate. But it's a typical situation. I mean, he's down a pawn, but anytime you're down a pawn but have kind of like pressure on the other guy's backward pawn, you have a sort of half pawn kind of compensation. Black has to play really accurately to unravel and consolidate the extra pawn. It's not easy. So e5 is now absolutely a threat. Queen b6. Queen b6 looks like the best, most active move. Not to go to c7 or b8 or somewhere awkward. I'm lucky that I have this square. I mean, sometimes I'm crawling around on the back rank in the Mora, you know, with my queen on b8 and rook f8 and really weird piece configurations. So here, I'm just able to play like I'm in a normal sort of position, which is nice. Still, even despite the fact that he hasn't played very accurately, I still think white has, as I said, like maybe almost half a pawn sort of compensation for the sacrificed pawn. Bone Collector says, what? I'm always skeptical of castling to a side where both bishops are pointing. What do you think? I think that there's no option. I think that your fears are well founded, but there's just no option. No other option. I have a solid pawn chain, you know. The thing is, those 4 pawns, I have good development. Everything's healthy about my position other than the backward pawn. No bad pieces. And we're going to regain time. Yeah, I understand your fears. But objectively, you know, in the Queen's Gambit accepted, he'd normally have his bishop like on his knight, this knight on d2, not getting in the way. So that bishop is not coordinating well with the knight, you know. I have knight d4. He's setting up tactics. You know, knight d4, rook takes d4. Maybe even knight d4, knight d5 right away. This is all like a tactical kind of setup. Knight g5 is a provocative and interesting move. So knight d4, knight takes d4, or rook takes d4, queen takes d4, knight d5. I better be ready to sack a queen for like a bunch of pieces there. Probably not enough. So that's not looking like it's on the agenda for today. Legitimately dangerous, I would say. Maybe he wants to sack a piece on e6. I'm not so afraid of this. You know? I'm not real convinced that that's a big problem for me. Knight takes is really nothing, and bishop takes is some vague stuff for him. He will be losing a very important piece if he does that. So I'm thinking knight e5 and also rook on a to c8. The knight e5 kind of defending my king side a little bit more. h6 is sort of a sucker move, but it still might not be bad. What's he going to do? Knight takes e6. Knight h3. Knight takes e6. Pawn takes e6. Bishop takes e6. Is that sound for white? So rook c8 now. Knight takes e6. Pawn takes e6. Bishop takes. Bishop takes c8. I guess we'll go with knight e5. This also brings another piece over to the king side, you know, to help potentially defend my king side. I can also block his bishop with knight c4. So there's a number of good ideas here. I'm not sure it's good enough, but I'm fairly certain some unclear stuff could go down here. At the very least, I have like knight c4. nullifying the bishops, the white bishops a little bit. This also opens up my bishop on b7. Let's not forget that I have some chances of my own. Bone Collector, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I'm not in a hurry to weaken my king side. Although knight on g5 is very invasive, and it might be in my best interest to actually go ahead and pull the trigger on h6 because, as I said, it's pretty invasive. I'm sure that h6 was playable. I was trying to avoid doing it, but now he finds the best move, king h1. h6, f4 looks okay for me. h6, he sacks a piece for 2 pawns. I mean, he has some threats. Take, bishop takes, king h8, rook c8. I could also play knight g6 or knight c4 here. Maybe knight c4. He has some tactics though. He has some really strange tactics based on like maybe bishop takes c4, knight a4, and bishop takes f6 and e5. h6. It's pretty unclear. Have to make a decision. Knight g6 is another option. Just he's coming with f4 though. Maybe knight c4 followed by h6. Take. The line I said isn't that convincing. Yeah, I'm gonna go with this. He has an interesting move here, knight d5. There's knight d5, I have pawn takes d5. Pawn takes d5 and then g6. I mentioned knight a4, that's probably not good. f4, and then my plan was to play h6 now, for better or for worse. I could play g6 though, maybe g6 is just safer. I mean, nothing is absolutely safe. Let's see. h6. All right. We have potential play on the long diagonal too. I didn't really think about this that carefully. You know, I mean, he doesn't have to sacrifice a piece. But what happens if he does something simple like retreat there? Should I take on e5? If I take on e5, it opens up his rook, but it kills his bishop. Kind of interesting choice. D takes E, F takes E, and then pawn takes G5, pawn takes F6. Very weird position. What if I just take on G5 first? It looks more dangerous. I think it's better to do this. To kind of try to kill his bishop. You know, I don't want this bishop to open up. His rook is going to be scary enough, but maybe we can survive this guy here. What happened? F takes E5. Okay, anyway, his bishop's still open. Yeah. Things are going to get kind of hairy. It looks like. Pretty sharp. The problem was pawn takes F6, rook D7. Looked a little awkward to me. So I was concerned about that. Although this move, Queen E2, not sure what that's about. I want to keep him tied down to G2. Very important. This was really, really close. I don't feel like I should get mated or something. But I see what's going on here. Yeah, it's kind of scary. Scary threats, but maybe now I just back off. Bishop E7. I don't want to allow an exchange sacrifice on F6. And now there's no mates. Wow, G4. There's another one where that came from. There's another one where that came from. And now, for my next trick, we just simply play this. If I had a better tactic there, I could have played queen takes G2 check. I mean, queen takes G2, take, rook D2 check, and take the bishop on B2 is probably winning for black as well. That was very scary, though, Franco. Typical Mora. You might have had something. I'm not really sure. So Andrea Perroni's up next. Perrone. You don't think white should have traded his white squared bishop? Well, at that point my knight was on C4, so it wasn't worth a whole lot anyway. I mean, once my knight gets to C4, it's pretty much worth the bishop on B3. But maybe he could have played differently prior to that. Alright, Andrea, let's play something different, the Scandinavian. I haven't played a lot of Scandinavians. I've kind of lost faith in this. But just for Halloween, we can try one. Throw Andrea off a little bit. Usually I play the Sicilian or like something solid against him, like the Caro-Kann or E45. I don't think I've played this. An old favorite, but I've scored kind of badly with it in my simuls here. People learned the theory of takes knight F6. Nimzovich said take it. I could actually see Nimzovich playing E5, but I'm sure he would have taken it. He liked to play e5, oddly enough, in the French. The French is different, though. Okay, Euro, and I'll see you later. Have a nice Halloween, man. So, I recommend, if you want to play soundly, I mean, queen takes d5, obviously, is the right move. But knight f6 is a gambit line. It's very interesting. It's been pretty well explored. And it's not as effective as it used to be. But I'm still gonna break it out on occasion. It's almost playable for black. c4. This is not a variation that really concerns me. But it does transpose to the Caro-Kann. I can also play e6, another kind of gambit there. Yeah, I mean, if you do e6, things are a little different. Is Halloween really a day off in America, even though it's Monday? I don't think so. It's not like a legal holiday. People still have to go to school, go to work. But it's like a day of celebration, so it's a fun work day. This is a Panov now. Halloween is arguably the funnest holiday in the United States. Funnest. Is funnest a word? Yeah, I used to play bishop g4 a lot, but there's the drawing variation, like c takes d, knight takes d, queen b3. So in order to avoid a draw, we really need to play something other than bishop g4. This is a Panov, yeah. I mean, not everybody who plays the Scandinavian with knight f6 likes to play the black side of the Panov, but it just so happens that I play the Caro-Kann too, so it's not a problem for me. And I don't think that, although I play the Panov for white myself, I don't innately believe that it's really the best way of playing against the Caro. Now Andrea Peroni with a very, very unusual move, 95 right away. I don't think that's bad. I don't think it's the best move or great move, but it's kind of interesting. It reminds me a little bit of like the Fianchetto Grunfeld, where like 95, whoever plays 95 or 94 first kind of gets a tiny edge. Position has a certain amount of similarity with the Fianchetto Grunfeld. In fact, I think the Panov, any kind of Panov with g6, closely related to Grunfeld. So there's a certain logic to this move, but it does look like it loses time. I could probably take on e5 and play knight g4. I could even take on e5 and play d4. But again, these are moves that look like they're kind of like begging for equality. So I'm just going to develop. I'm sure that we can find some very rare games with the move knight e5. It looks like the kind of move that maybe loses white's opening advantage, but it's not like he's worse, you know. He's probably equal. It probably allows black to equalize, I would guess. You're moving the knight twice, a very early stage here. It's probably a slight inaccuracy. I don't know if Stockfish will criticize your play in the post-mortem, but I think it's just like a slightly inaccurate move that probably allows black to gain equality. But there's some interesting possibilities. I'm fairly certain I made the right decision. Now it's actually reminding me of a c3 Sicilian. Yeah, this is a weird position. Very similar to the c3 Sicilian. Of course, c3 Sicilian goes hand in hand with isolated queen pawn position. Right. Funny position. Now, what's the sharpest move for white? Of course, like queen f3, probably not good because of like knight takes e5, disarming the threat on f7. There's a very funky variation there. I'm sort of disappointed you dropped a piece because, honestly, there was a cool line. Like bishop b5. Do you guys have an idea what my best move is there? After bishop b5. I mean, it's possible to play bishop takes e5 and like go into some lame ending where black's groveling for a draw. After like bishop takes e5, d takes e5, knight takes c3, queen takes d8 check, king takes d8, d takes e. It's probably a draw, objectively. In fact, yeah. So, but it's an unpleasant draw for black. I think it'd be really cool to play like bishop b5, bishop d7. And then I was looking at knight takes f7. But then knight takes c3. Gets very unclear. I have to look at that after the game. But I don't think knight takes f7 works right away. I could just take it. This doesn't seem correct. You're going a little bit overboard with knight takes f7. But maybe I have alternative. Knight takes c3. Maybe not. The problem is knight f6. You're just down a piece. So it would be better to play, I don't know what. No, I mean it just doesn't work. But Andrea, highly interesting was bishop b5. Now should I play e6? Yeah, it looks... e6 here allows bishop g5 though. That's kind of dangerous. Objectively though, maybe not enough for white. I can take on d4. Then queen f4, something bizarre. I have a lot of moves. Actually, e6, bishop g5, queen takes d4. Yeah, I don't really believe in this. He copied my idea. You also had d5, but I don't think it was good. Queen takes d4 or knight takes d4. Even h6 is probably okay. I mean, what if I just do h6? Don't listen to me and my suggestions. What's up, guys? Don't forget to check out my YouTube channel, Video Chess Training on YouTube. We've got uploads. I've got to upload yesterday's non-simul stream. I didn't finish telling the story. No simul yesterday, so we did some analysis of a tournament game I played. I drew with a player just a little bit higher rated than me in the Hungarian Team Championship. It was a quick draw, like 20 moves, but there was an interesting opening. He played the Roy Lopez with a6 and g6, and kind of somewhat unusual line, because I guess the proper Smyslov is like g6 on move 3. So it's an interesting kind of underknown or under-analyzed variation. Now d5. Andrea, that's a lot of pieces, man. That's a lot of pieces, really. I'm going to keep taking. Actually, he has some points here. Well, he's going to take on c6. I'm just up a piece, but it's a little bizarre. Whatever. I mean, in the interest of simplification, I'm going to take here on g5. And we're up a clear piece. White doesn't have any real compensation. It also kind of feels nice to open up the H file in case he's interested in castling queenside. Speaking of which, maybe that was your best move, castling queenside there. That was a little scary. Now you can't castle queenside. So I'm happy with that, you know, inclusion. I'm happy that he's not allowed to castle queenside here, because castling queenside was a tad scary. It's not a great bishop on c8, but we'll deal with it. Both my bishops they're a little restricted at the moment, but in the interest of being up a piece, I will make do with what I've got. Now we have a monster square, the d5. If I can play like king g8 and walk away and put my knight on d5, that's forever. He'll never be able to get rid of it without fixing my pawns and trading pieces. So that's one good defense, is like king g8 followed by knight d5. Or maybe even king e7 followed by knight d5. He can take this pawn if he wants to. I'm actually kind of happy if you take that pawn, because my bishop might actually like see the light of day after queen takes c6. Rook d1. And that limits me to some extent. That's fine. Queen c7 or queen a5 or queen b6. We have all these possibilities. Yeah. And now he'll probably castle kingside. And after that, he doesn't have too much compensation. Probably not a lot. Queen c7, defending the pawn on c6. Got e5 check. This is luxurious. He saw it, of course. Softening up the white squares for my bishop on b7. My future bishop. How about rook b8? Or maybe I should just execute plan A. What was it to play knight d5? I'm having second thoughts now. Maybe king on e7 is safer. However, wherever I go, he's got a few lingering threats. Bishop b7 is not bad, though. Idea, maybe rook e8. Consolidating. Although he's got knight e4, too. Still, not easy for him to do that. These bishops are awesome. Truly awesome bishop pair. Insane potential. But the potential's there. We just have to make it happen. So guys, we've got 30 minutes left in the stream for today. Tomorrow I'll be back Tuesday, 10 a.m. CET, with more Blitz and Classical Chess with analysis here. Pumpkin is going. He's going back to the holiday parade or something. I don't know. Bishop b7. Guest star. GM Wilwolf, happy Halloween, man. Queen e5 prevent castle was suggested. It doesn't really matter. He's going to play king f1 in that position. Now there's a nasty double threat. But I have queen e5, rook d7 check. Eek. All my bishops are hanging. We have c5. He suddenly has a lot of threats here. Queen a5 check, king e7. He's got a lot of threats. I'm getting a little bit nervous here. This didn't really work the way I wanted it to work. But c5, still possible. Maybe just king e7, preempting everything. Just feels geometrically like the safest square for my king here, but he's got a move I didn't see. Oh no. Now I'm in trouble. Queen a3 check. I totally missed it. I don't know what's going on after that, man. Maybe you're better. You're down 2 pieces? Just 1. Yeah, he's only down 1 piece. No, he's got a strong attack. This was a blunder. I played king e7. This is a bad move. I have to play something else here. I walked right into queen a3 check. Then I have to play c5. I don't know what's going on there. That's pretty bad. I might be in serious... I might be lost after queen a3 check. I might just be lost. Queen a3 check, c5, knight takes c5. I just completely missed it. I think I'm basically lost. I have 1 check on e5. But I don't see how that's going to help me. He's always walking away to... he's just walking away there. Man, that's scary. All right. TLC best. It's... unestablished ratings. Normally I'm not playing anybody whose ratings aren't established. But he's played a number of games. I'll let it slide. Yeah, it looks bad. After queen a3, I think he's winning. So we're playing this provisionally rated player here. I'm normally not playing anybody who doesn't have like at least like 30, 40, 50 games. Of course, if you add up all his games, it's a little weird. He's got all this 6 games of each. It's a new account. Let's hope it's not a troll or something. It could be. If I feel it's a troll, then I'll abort the game or something. This is already pretty sharp line for a 1400 to know. So here, one of my teammates actually played a very similar game yesterday, knight f6. And knight f3 is another move. Might be better than knight e2. Hard to say. I'm going to play a6. I think a6 is pretty standard. b5. Aronian has played this line for white. It's about equal, but 1400, 1300, 1600. This account was probably created in the last couple days. I probably shouldn't have played this guy, honestly. It's possibly not really a 1400. Playing very fast too. In this position, this is sort of dangerous. I play knight f6. But this is why I enacted the policy not to play unrated players. So we're going to stick to the policy from now on. Sticking to the policy of playing no unestablished profiles in the stream. Now maybe d5, e5, knight d7. I'm not in love with my position here. You could think about maybe queen c7, not committing to castling kingside. I'm a little concerned about this guy's time usage. He's very, very fast. With a strange, very, very low ratings, but playing the opening perfectly and also faster than me. I'm just paranoid that people are like trolling me. He might be a totally legitimate 1400, but so far he's played like Aronian. I'm not sure though I like knight e2 as much as knight f3, but it's an interesting line. I think white's better here. e5. 5 is good. I don't want to commit to castling kingside. It can be dangerous. Yeah, this guy's a little too good for 1400. Now maybe c4. Probably. Interesting attempt here to keep the opponent from playing c4, kicking my knight off of d5. You're an 1800 in real life. Yeah. Now, real life is different from chess.com. Real life would be like playing in real tournaments. I don't know the chess.com or lichess, which is more inflated for the ratings. But the problem is whenever I play an unrated player, I get very paranoid because we've been trolled by, I think, the same guy quite a bit, creating these accounts just to play me and beat me with the computer. So now I made an exception. This was an interesting decision by me, though, to play c4. Maybe that's actually the best. Although position is unclear. He's starting to use some time now. Here I can play knight e3, maybe trading pieces. But it does waste quite a bit of time. Knight e3, bishop takes e3, bishop takes e4. And I think white is better there. This is a little bit suspicious. White's play looks good. Maybe we can try knight e3, bishop takes e3, bishop takes e4, knight c3, queen b7, something like that. Trying to hang on here. If I can draw this game, I'll probably be happy. I should just... think about aborting this. How could you possibly have all these ratings, like 1300 over 6 games in Bullet, 1600 over 6 games, 1400 in Classical, if you're 1800 across the board? That's pretty weird. Unless you just like lost on time all your games or something. He's played pretty much perfectly, including queen e2. If I can make a draw, I'd be happy here. That pretty much is why we don't play unrated players on lichess. It's unrated, but I don't want to waste my time playing with people who use engines and stuff like that. And waste everybody else's time. Now I'm surprised he played c3 there. If he was an engine, he probably would have played f5. That's a reprieve. I think now I'm okay. But if he played f5, I'm probably getting rolled. Only really mistake White's made, I think, this game, not playing f5 there. I'm pretty much expecting to lose if White plays f5. But now we have a totally okay position. Black's probably better. One mistake goes from probably almost losing for me to better. But we'll have to continue the policy of requesting everybody have at least like 40 games. Now what? h5, we go for it. A little bit risky, honestly. But I want to castle into some kind of sacrificial attack with like f5. It's better to play maybe like king f8, king g7 like in a Gurgenidze Caro-Kann. But I haven't won this game yet. Guys, we have time for maybe 1 or 2 games. Probably 1 or 2. Hopefully 2. White's still pretty solid. I'm not sure that I'm necessarily winning here. Now he has possible sacrifices. It looks a little dangerous for me. I have to be careful. Maybe h4. I don't want to let him play f5. I don't want this knight to be where it can sacrifice itself on f5. And then we need to yeah, now we're probably okay. As long as he doesn't have a knight takes f5 sacrifice. Very much a Gurgenidze Caro-Kann. 1400, it's not 1800 maybe, but pretty solid 1800. Not sure how I can win. There's really no way to break through here. Something like queen b5 doesn't really make any progress. Bishop d8. Yeah. But every single rating is under 1800, around 16 or lower. I don't really play on chess.com, so I don't know about that, but look at this. Knight f3, knight g1 maneuver, right? Now I gotta be very careful. Probably I should think about taking that, actually. Otherwise it gets very dangerous for me. I should still be able to draw, though, objectively. But I don't think I can beat him in this position. Oh, that's pretty insightful. Quite an insightful move. Yeah. Bishop c1. Rook A4 playing perfectly, yeah. He's 1800 from chess.com. Plays like this. Pretty subtle. I have no idea. I shouldn't have played this guy. It's not. Not an 1800. Definitely not a 1400. 2000 minimum. Having a good game. I have no way to make progress here. I can only draw, I'm pretty sure. At best. I don't really see a point in this. Right, dude. Thanks for wasting our time. Anyway, Spalfi, let's see if he has ratings. Okay, it's a real player. So, Spalfi is 1756. Okay, guys, last game or two here for today. Shouldn't have played a suspicious account. Sorry to waste our time there. I was lucky he didn't play F5. He's probably just rolling me after that. I was fortunate to draw. But in the final position, it's a draw, objectively. I don't think I was ever really much better. Knight F6. Some sort of hybrid. Centaur. D6. This is a move we see a lot. It's actually very, very rare in tournament play. But you can transpose to a rouser or play a kind of bishop b5 Sicilian. In this case, transpositions are possible to both openings. Whether depending on whether white plays bishop g5 or not. I'm surprised that this move isn't played more often. Actually, this is called the Richter attack, I think. If we play bishop g5, I've had quite a lot of games on the stream here. I think the bishop b5 is a move that people who don't know a lot of theory are attracted to because it's an active and logical move. Trollodon. Trollodon, you haven't been watching my stream too much, dude. But nice name, by the way. I guess that was probably Trollodon we played. It's a fitting name. Creating accounts to cheat against streamers with. Alright, anyway, so castles, yeah, we didn't play any, we've got a lot of higher rated players to play, He said I only play low rated players. Find me some 2500s here that want to play in the stream. I'm totally okay with playing them, but, there's a lot of those guys who are stronger than me that want to play me in my stream. Queen f3, dropping a piece. That's always fortunate. We'll have one more. We'll have enough time for one more game. Even if he drags us out. With Spoofy, he's around the same rating as the other guy. He's obviously human. No, the last game, highly suspicious. I was very suspicious right out of the opening. I mean, if the guy's 1400 or whatever, even if he was 1800, you know, he's unlikely to know that sort of variation, but that's possible. There's about a 10% chance he was really for real. But I don't think, you know, if he was cheating, he didn't want to blow me away, so he didn't want it to be obvious. It's hard to say, though. But anyway, something wasn't kosher. How can all his ratings be 1400 on lichess, and he plays like he's a candidate master? I mean, it's typical here. I mean, you get it all the time. Like, things that just don't make sense, that's enough reason not to play somebody. Why is your rating in every category 1400, but you're a candidate master? That's not too suspicious, you know? I play lots of 1800s on chess.com who play like 2600s. It doesn't tell me much. Actually, not a lot, because I don't really play on chess.com, but the few times that I have, I tend to run into Grandmaster Strength 1800s fairly often. Here on lichess, not as much, because people can be easily kicked out. Definitely prefer lichess to like chess.com or ICC, because cheaters can have their accounts removed, which isn't so easy to have happen at chess.com or like the ICC. They'll come back with new accounts, but they'll always be suspicious, and there's no reason to let them hang around. Unlike on a pay chess site where we need to let them hang around because they're paying us to play on the site. All right, guys, let's play another game or two. We still have time, but no challenges. Are you sure nobody's going to challenge me to one more blitz game? Let's play one more blitz game. I mean, I can stop early if there's no challenges, or I can dig somebody out of the... Ivan Gurgov, we could take him out. What do you guys think? Casual? Oh man, he's still there. Okay, let's play Ivan, come on. Maybe Ivan got a challenge already. It's hard to find casual challenges. Try to play one more. Full Nelson from Italy looks good. He's got enough games. He's 1900. Oh man, every time I try to click on them. There we go. Alright. He doesn't know he's playing on my stream, but let's go, dude. This is the time control I would choose for the stream if I asked someone to challenge me. Lichess is definitely the best. We have no reason to protect cheaters. He's, you know, we have no reason to let the cheating accounts hang around. You know, the cheaters can be kicked out. Knight to c6. Full Nelson is unaware that I'm streaming, very possibly. So, but I wanted to play one more blitz game. It's a perfect time control, 5-3. I've never played this guy before, but he's got a nice established rating, over 100 games. Classical Sicilian. By the way, guys, happy Halloween in advance. Lichess is definitely the best, Greg. I'm really finished with like pay chess sites. Yeah, we had a game like this yesterday. Our last game of the stream, ironically. against a Georgian guy, or at least with a Georgian name. He played the opening perfectly and then made a blunder. But when I'm playing an account, you know, who's like got 100 games, I'm not paranoid. You know, I know this person is like a real player. So I shouldn't have played the troll. I have an honest heart, and I feel like I have to give people, you know, give people a chance. Full Nelson dropped a piece. This happens occasionally. It's been a while since someone dropped a piece against me here. So, I don't know. Haunted Halloween. How does a person challenge me? Well, you like click on my name on lichess, and if you click on somebody's name, you see you bring up the name like here with, I'll bring up like Full Nelson. You see you can click on them. There's like the swords, the cross swords here. If I click on his name, you click on the cross swords. You can do play. Then you can challenge here. Variant. Whatever. You set the time, minutes per side, increment, casual, and you click random side. That's how you do it. Okay, guys, I have 5 minutes left and I've got to go. So this is absolute last call for a blitz game. If anybody wants to play, 1200-ish. Yeah, as long as you're not like 1400 going on 26, you know, that's what we had from the troll guy. 1400 on lichess means that you're probably 1200 over the board, which means that you don't play the opening like a Ronian or like a candidate master at least. Arunyan. I have a habit of pronouncing things in American ways sometimes. I know better, but I just do it anyway. All right, so let's find one more game. Rated. I could play a rated, but I'm a little tired now. I don't mind playing rated if it's not somebody who's like listening to the stream, actually. But I'm pretty tired, so let's play one more casual game. Queen Mary. Queen Mary 4-0. She'll probably abort the game because a lot of people get intimidated when they get challenged by someone who's like 1,000 points higher. I get that a lot. Good. Queen Mary's not afraid. Good for you, Queen Mary. You have established ratings. That's cool. So, what's her established ratings? Like 13, 14? She knows the opening, like Aronian. But I'm sure that she's consistent with her rating. She's got a lot of games, pretty many games. 868, that's a real rating. Alright, let's go for it. 4-0, no increment. Step on it. Queen Mary, though, knows how to play the Najdorf. 1380, it's about 1200, maybe over the board. Bishop d5 is interesting here. It's a quick game. It's probably the main line, actually. Bishop to d5. It's not a very well-known line, but I do recall Bishop d5 being the recommendation for white. Not really sure about the follow-up. A rook a7, Queen Mary. Not a lot of choices. Knight takes or rook a7. And b4, is b4 an issue? I should try to play as aggressively as I can here. Queen Mary, so far so good. I would think, well, Queen Mary's a strong player, but she blundered. That's natural. I mean, if you're 1200, you know how to play the Najdorf, but you make some tactical mistakes. She overlooked knight c6. And now we have two moves, bishop e3 or takes. We try for more. Larry Christensen. The catchphrase, see a good move, look for a better one. That very much applies here. Yeah, you really need to have like 50 games. I'd probably accept a challenge with like a little bit less. But the other guy I accepted was very bad of me. I mean, the guy had like 4 games in every rating category. Clearly, he like created the account today or something. So I shouldn't have accepted his challenge. I got what I deserved, basically. I'm not going to cry about it because I really got what I deserved. But he wasn't like a full-on cheater, you know. I mean, he wasn't crushing me with the computer, but something wasn't right, you know, with those ratings and the way he played. Some people like to like half cheat, like play themselves, but kind of use the engine to sort of help them along the way so they can learn from it. And, you know, there's all sorts of variations. That's why I do ask that everybody has an established rating. I probably let it slide with maybe 40 or even 30 games, but some kind of, and I would prefer it was an account, you know, like created today. It's been around for a while, but if you have less than 30 or 40 games, chances are your account hasn't been around too long. So Queen Mary is a legitimate, probably like 1200 over the board player. I'm willing to give material back here. We're up a rook, and go for the gusto. Tactics maybe with d7. She doesn't want the rook. I don't know. Knight takes d7, I guess. Threatening d7. Some lines if castles d7. Thanks. The trick is to open another window. Find Sparkle Horse there. There's no link when you're watching the stream, right? Yeah, that's an interesting question. That could be something. Could be added. Okay. Well, White's already up a ton of material here, so I could also have played Knight takes e6, of course. Discovering on the Queen on a7. Thank you for the game, Queen Mary. Even if you didn't know you're on my stream. Once in a while, we'll play a random player at the end of the stream if nobody's challenging. It doesn't happen very often, though. We're usually pretty booked up. I don't know what happened today. Maybe with Halloween. Everybody left for their respective Halloween parties. We had a lot of challenges in the beginning, and then it just like went flat. So I'm going to close down the stream, guys. And I'd like to thank everybody for bearing with me here today. You can have, oh, she didn't take, man. She did not take. She's so afraid of back rank mate, which is pretty sensible, actually, in this position. That should do it. Anyway, guys, check out my YouTube videos, video chess training on YouTube. I'm going to upload the stream as well as yesterday's interesting blitz and classical evening stream. We do uploads, we do independent videos, instruction, and also sometimes reviews of stuff like simuls I do. Maybe I go over some games, different stuff. So check it out, like and subscribe on YouTube. And we will be back tomorrow and every day this week, Monday to Friday, 10 a.m. CEST, rather 10 a.m. CET, Central European Time. No more summertime. It is fall now. And I want to thank you guys. Thanks to Jeroen for being our moderator on the Twitch stream. And that's it. So thank you, Queen Mary, for being a guest star on our stream today. Mr. Pumpkin thanks you and all you guys. We'll see you later. Bye-bye. Have a good Halloween.